Assalamualaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to the final session of the Epilogue of Happy Clinic 2021. I am Iman and I'll be your MC this afternoon. Thank you to participants who have been tuning in since this morning. In the previous session, we had Professor Dr. Marhani Bidin, Mr. Daniel Loh, and Puan Hamidah Helmi. They have been discussing the topic of parents' roles in teenagers' mental health. Some highlight from the previous session are the first one, parents need to allow their children to experience disappointment so that they can learn negative feelings don't last. And the second one, parents also need to validate their children's fears and help them make plans to do things. And the last one, let them take risks and experience natural consequences. So in this session, we will concentrate on the younger generation referred to as youth. The third session will feature Anna Rayanan Rao, a counselor from Newcastle University Medicine Malaysia, as the speaker, and moderated by Ms. Azizah Khalid Merican, a certified mental health first aider from EduCity. Ms. Kisha and Ms. Azizah will take you on the topic of back to university, coping with uncertainty and reset the mindset. Our speaker, Ms. Kisha, is a certified counselor from the Newcastle University of Medicine, Malaysia, and she possesses a master in counseling psychology. Previously, she joined hands with Satya Sai Baba organizations and conducted group counseling session as social work in SMK Bukit Gading, Sungai Buloh. Our moderator, Ms. Azizah, is a certified mental health first aider from EduCity Iskandar. In February 2016, she was recognized as a certified behavioral consultant from the Institute for Motivational Living, USA. She is also a certified trainer under Train the Trainer TTT program with Persatuan Sumber Manusia Berhad. Ms. Azizah is a master graduate in business administration from Unitar International University. Ms. Azizah has experience managing students in private higher education, and she will be able to engage in this session by sharing her experiences in managing students. For our viewers in both Zoom and TikTok platforms, we would like to encourage you to be active in this session by posting questions to speaker and stand a chance to win the EduCity Happy Kit. Do interact with us in the comment section and post your questions in the Q&A box. Without further ado, I will pass the platform to our moderator, Ms. Azizah, to kick off the session. Over to you, Ms. Azizah.
Hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Azizah. I'll be your moderator for today. We are now in our last series of the epilogue. For this session, we will be talking about back to university, coping with uncertainty and resetting the mindset. Stress is undoubtedly a part of student lives, and it may impact their ways of coping with the demands of their studying life. Their daily responsibilities involve numerous challenges which led to stress. The reality of the pandemic has also negatively impacted the students' quality of social life. Studying at a higher education institution is also a period of establishing new relationships and intense social life. This is facilitated by the fact that young people exhibit greater levels of extraversion and openness to experience than do older people. Studies show that contacts with others positively influence quality of life. Lack of regular contact with friends throughout all phases of the pandemic results in loneliness, which might not be fully mitigated by regular contacts via telephone and other means. In conjunction with Mental Health Day today, we are fortunate to have Ms. Kesha, a counselor from Newcastle University Medicine, Malaysia, with us today to share with us on youngsters. Without further ado, the floor is yours, Kesha.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank you and invite all of you to this happy clinic. And it's honestly a great effort by EduCity, I would say, to take care of all our mental health. So without delaying it, I think I'll start sharing my slides. And don't worry, this wouldn't be like a lecture. It's going to be fun. So just shoot up all your questions that you have, right? Okay, so Okay, so I hope that all of you can see my slides. Right, so the title, as you can see, Coping with Uncertainty and Resetting the Mindset. So learning from school. Okay, so these are some of the questions that may be running on your mind currently once they have announced that you can finally go back to school and start learning physically. Right, so I'm sure that there's many more questions apart from this that I've projected here. So feel free to put them in the question box, to the chat box, I mean, right? So social, um, I'm pretty sure you'll have concerns about whether or not your social group is going to be the same. How would you face new people or people who you have had conflicts before in the previous 2 years? And yeah, stuff like that. And academically, you would definitely be wondering, how do you catch up with all those academic chapters or your lectures that you have missed since last year? Although you have been learning online, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of differences between physical learning and online learning. For some of you, it was so much better to be learning from home, right? As for some of you, you prefer physical learning. So yeah, apart from that, time management. So for time management, I'm pretty sure all of us, including me, a lot of people more, okay, regardless of the age. When the lockdown was announced, most of us started laying loose at home, like we don't have a proper routine established apart from just going for Zoom calls, Zoom meetings, and Zoom classes. Also, we kind of lost the productivity, I would say. Probably it may be different for you. So that's the reason why it'll be good if you could share with me in the chat box, right? So how do we encounter all this? What do we do about all these questions that are coming up in our mind, right? So basically, for anything, I believe mindset is very important, right? So switching our mindset from e-learning to physical learning, that's what we are going to do today. Right. So the first thing is to acknowledge, to know that it's okay to ask for help. It can be from your tutors, it can be from parents, it can be from anybody that you trust, right? Second is to start small. Start somewhere, but start small, as long as you know you're starting somewhere, right? So for that, you might want to do the goals using the SMART goals. So here I'm just going to read out what SMART stands for. So S is basically specific. So you have to narrow down your goals to specific things, not just putting something general, right? So for M, it's measurable. You might want to start setting goals which are measurable, as in like not something general in numbers, or you have like a date, like a limit of what you would like to achieve in how much of time, the period of time, right? So it should be measurable. And also about your progress evaluation, you know where you are at from where you were. So that's what M stands for. As for A, it's attainable. Don't go too high, don't push yourself way too high. Wherever you are right now, set your goals based on your capability and your ability, right? So for that, for attainable, it should have a time frame. So you set your goals based on a time frame, like you give yourself a week's time. So in a week's time, I would like to achieve what? Set small goals, right? So R stands for relevant. So it has to be in line with your objective. First of all, before you set your goals, you have to have your objective, your main objective. What is your objective? So based on that, you would be setting your goals. Okay. So T stands for time-based, and it has to be realistic. So you don't want to set goals to be achieved for next year too soon, all right? So take one at a time. That's what you want to follow. So the SMART goals plan would really help for those who are stuck somewhere and not knowing where to start, right? So the third one is to create a checklist every morning. It can be every morning or every weekend for the entire week. Okay, so you create a checklist of what would you like to do, and it has to fall under needs and wants. What do you need to do for the day? What do you want to do? So of course the needs has to be prioritized, right? So I'm sure you know what you should prioritize and what not. Okay, so based on that, you might want to create a checklist. And apart from that, try and explore interesting learning methods. So I understand that physical learning might be different for some of us now. So apart from physical learning, what else can you do to enhance your learning in this post-COVID situation? So that is what you want to look into. Is it the media, or is it some special learning classes with your tutor? Whatever it is, whatever which works for you. Okay. Right. So next is prioritizing your mental health. Remember this: EduCity and a lot of people nowadays, they are actually organizing such events like this just to make sure that everybody gets an idea. And the message behind this kind of events is to prioritize your mental health as you matter. Okay, so you have to prioritize your mental health wherever and whatever you're doing. Every single time you feel like your mental health is low and you need help, stand up, speak out, right? That's very important. The day that you start prioritizing your mental health is when you start seeing everything else falling into places. Okay? So next is to ensure that you are actively participating. It can be in anything, co-curricular activities, it can be curricular activities, anything which is being organized in your university or in your institute. So try and be active. That way, it may reduce the anxiety of needing to go back to reality, or I don't know if it's called the new normal, but yeah, I would say that it's a reality. Okay, so the last one is to be open-minded for new opportunities. Okay, so by this, I meant that if you think you have a new opportunity, as in like to hold a role, an important role in an organization, in the university or an association, take it, grab it. So because that way you kind of have an objective, a new role, a new responsibility. So you have a purpose to be looking forward to go to college, to go to university. Okay, so these are some of the tips that you might want to follow. Feel free to ask me questions if you don't understand any of this, right? So next. So some of the difficulties in adjusting to this new normal learning can be these two, which are trauma and loss of enrichment opportunities. So first of all, I would like to convey my condolences to all those who have been affected by COVID, whoever who has been going through trauma and grievance due to COVID. But yeah, some of us have been going through these experiences, and it's not easy. For you to be going through this and still being here as a student, listening to this talk, it takes so much, and I'm proud of you. Okay, so yeah, as for trauma, if you still feel like there's something stopping you from moving on from a loss of someone significant, or just the experience of being a COVID survivor, you have to talk it out. Start talking it out, because it's now no longer stigmatized. Okay, all right. So the next is the loss of enrichment opportunities. So we all know that learning from home has actually impacted us in these two: loss of literacy skills and loss of social skills, in which we are just stranded at home with family members if we are lucky. For some of us, our family members are miles away, and we are just stranded in our apartment, our hostel. So then we don't have that interaction with humans. And as for literacy skills, for some of us, online learning helped us a lot. But for some of us, we preferred physical learning. So yeah, in these two things, we do find difficulties in facing, right? So next, okay, so what do we do for skills deficit? Okay, so basically we have to reinstall our self-confidence. How do we do it? How? So we basically have to uh, list down what is it that we would like to do, as in like which part of self-confidence are we lacking in? Is it physical? Is it what is it? Is it the way you speak? So you have to list down. From that, it's easier to narrow down to what we can do. Okay. Second is to seek help from respective sources. So who are your respective sources? You have to identify that. By now, I'm pretty sure every university have their own sources. Apart from that, EduCity also has helpline for you to contact. Okay, so if you need help, you have to speak out. If you don't speak out, nobody knows what you're going through. Okay, so next is acknowledge, identify, find solution. When you're having a crisis, when you're feeling low, what do? Acknowledge that you are feeling something. What is it? It's okay if you don't know what is it, but you have to allow yourself to feel what it's feeling. Then you will identify what triggered that. If you know your triggers, it'll be easier. If you don't, it's okay. Find solution. By this, what I mean is to speak it out to somebody, to anybody that you trust. So before speaking it out, it'll be easier if you can list down the triggers, or probably your expectation from what you would like to achieve from the discussion with that respective source that you would like to speak to. Okay, these are some of the things that you can do for skills deficit. Next is, okay, so you have to evaluate how ready your mental state is. So these are the 4 elements that you would like to use to measure. So you ask yourself, do you demonstrate a healthy work-life balance? If you answered yes, then you are one step closer. And self-confidence wise, do you believe in your own ability to succeed? Do you or not? If you don't, then you need to speak out. What is it? What is stopping you? What is not allowing you to be confident? And how is it different from before COVID? Okay. Then for coping and safety skills, how well do you deal with the problem? You have to answer this in order for you to know whether or not you are ready to face things in the university when you go back next week. Right. So for the adaptability, are you able to transition well to new routines, new expectations, and new responsibilities? So this is very important. All these 4 questions will determine whether or not you are ready for the new learning method, or yeah. So once you have asked yourself this question, I'm sure you know what you should do. If you answered no to any of this, you either speak to somebody that you trust, or you look into what is it that is stopping you behind, so you can work your way out of it. You can read on it. Yeah, you can get help. Okay. So yeah, so we have reached to the conclusion of my talk. So the conclusion is, yeah, acknowledge, identify, explore your options, and execute. It's okay to be not okay. Remember that. And what matters most is to acknowledge and work on it. Okay? So adaptability to change is itself a hallmark of successful education, according to Peter Hilton. So thank you very much for joining my talk today, and I'll see you in a while.
Thank you, Keisha, for the insightful sharing. I am sure our audience today has gained a lot of informative knowledge. With the recent announcement that students are allowed to go back to campus and schools, we have read quite a lot of mix-up of comments. Some are happy and some are not very encouraging. For being at their comfort zone for almost 2 years with studying online, it is a tough call for some of us when it is time to be back to face-to-face classes. And I know this is not only for students or our children, but it is giving impacts to parents as well. From the session just now, I myself has picked up a few tips on how to handle, not only for my kids, but me myself on how to cope up with the new upcoming challenges. Now, as you can see, we have a new setup for the Q&A session. Next, for the Q&A session, I would like to invite Keisha to EC1 floor. Hi, Keisha.
How have you been feeling?
I am good. It's good to see you face to face.
Yeah.
Here today. Yeah, please. All right, let's get Keisha comfortable first at EC1 floor for the next session.
Yep.
Okay, are you all good?
Yes. All
Yes.
Good.
All right. So I'll just let you know that some of the questions we'll be taking questions from TikTok and also from Zoom.
Right.
Okay, and I can see that there's a lot of questions piling up. All right, so are you ready to take in the first questions?
Bring it on.
All right, the first one, I think we have one from Feng Hui.
Mhm.
This is actually coming from Zoom.
Okay.
Okay, he said, hi, Miss Kisha. Will you suggest students to set a short-term goal and long-term goal?
Feng Hui, is it?
Yeah, Feng Hui, yes.
Hi, Feng Hui. Yeah, so yes, it's advisable for you to set both short-term and long-term goals depending on what you would like to achieve. Like for students who don't know where to start, like they're just all over the place, I would suggest short-term goals. And when you think you're on a right track, then you can set long-term goals.
Yep. Yeah, I think that is very right.
Yeah.
All right, so there's another one from Anonymous.
Mhm.
Okay, she said, I am going to be back to university soon,
Mhm.
which means I'll be having new teachers,
Mhm.
new environment, and new routines.
Mhm.
How can I make myself more connected to the new setting and not feeling isolated? And I think this is very true.
Mhm.
You know, we have been very comfortable for the past 2 years, almost 2 years,
Mhm.
sitting at home, and some of them registered 2 years back.
Yeah.
And if you're taking a diploma program, you're almost towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So suddenly you have to you
Yeah.
have to go back to universities.
Okay.
So yeah.
Right. So basically for this, you will have to step out of your comfort zone, I would say, Azizah, because if you are going to be there, nothing is going to be happening, whoever wrote that. So you have to step out in the sense that try and talk to someone. Small talks matter. The day you start talking to someone, it will slowly become like a new habit, a new social circle, which would lessen the anxiety levels. Right. So speak to someone. As for now, you have not gone back to university yet, so you can keep in touch through your group, your academic group. I'm pretty sure you have WhatsApp groups or whatever groups, right? So yeah, try and keep in touch through that. So when you see them in person, it wouldn't be so awkward, right? So yeah,
that means starting from today, there should be more conversation in the WhatsApp group,
Yes.
more more social,
Yeah.
things like plan out what we are going to do
Yep.
when we meet up in campus and
Yeah.
so on.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that will be help. Okay, there's another one actually from Norfi. Hi, Miss Kesha. I'm Norfi Shafiq from the Iskandarian. It seems like acknowledging is a crucial thing to ask ourselves before we could assess ourselves further. Is there any common instances or case issues that shows denial of an individual to acknowledge their own problems, just to give an idea what is it like to deny our feelings of problems?
So what I can understand from this question, Norfi, is it?
Yeah,
Is
Norfi.
that people tend to be in denial when they know they are going through something, but they just can't accept the fact that they are going through something.
Exactly.
That in that case, yes, denial happens. But to acknowledge, what I meant by acknowledging earlier in my talk was that to know that something is going on within and to get ready to talk about it to somebody, whether or not it's a professional. It can be informal sources of help. It can be your family, trusted people around you. But yeah, the fact that you acknowledge something is going on within you is the first step to a better mental health, I would say.
Yeah. I think that is actually the common problems. And
Yes.
if we do not acknowledge it, if we keep on denying it, that will actually lead us to a more seriousness of anxiety and depression and so on.
Yep.
But I believe because there's a stigma to it. If you wanted to tell somebody that you have problems and so on, the perceptions of other people towards you is like you're problematic, you have issues. So I mean, how do you handle that? How do you want to advise somebody who wanted to open up, but the fact that the stigma is there, so they do not want to be labeled.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we all still know that Asian countries is prone to have stigma, let it be self-stigma or public stigma. But yeah, from what I see, in a collectivistic natured country like Malaysia, we do have public stigma being higher than self-stigma. But again, your mental health matters. People's perceptions will always be there, whether or not you do the right thing. So, like, how is it that when you are not feeling well physically, you go to the doctor, that is fine. But when your mind needs help, that's not fine because somebody else is going to think something bad.
Mhm.
How is that fair to ourselves?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So we use the phrase, you only live once for fun things, but hey, you only live once. So your mental health matters, you know.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
So yeah, you have to do something about it, regardless of the perceptions, the stigma, the you know, whatever it is, the biasness. It's okay. People who matter will stay by your side no matter what you go through, physically or mentally. But yeah, people who leave you knowing that, or they're going to stigmatize you, biased or what, they don't matter. Simple. Right.
Exactly. Okay. Just now you mentioned about us being in a comfort zone. So if we look back into the previous session that we have, majority of the introvert, if I may say, they are very comfortable in their comfort zone for the past 2 years. You know, I think it to them is a winning part, you know, of their life when they comfortable at home and doing all the tasks and so on. So there is one question from Carmen Navina. Says, hi Miss Kisha, how can we actually push ourselves to get out of our comfort zones?
Okay. So first of all, I would say that motivation matters the most. Even if you want to push yourself to do anything, motivation matters. But again, for motivation, even that is hard because you might not know what to look forward to. Always, we humans are programmed to be, you know, doing something in order to get something, reward, right? So if you want to do something, try and set a reward for you. Okay. So if only I study this many chapters by end of this week, I get to do this. Like, what is it that you love doing and you can't be without doing? Going out, hanging out with friends, whatever it is, that's your reward. So you have to set yourself in that way because we humans are already been set in such a way. Okay, so probably you can incorporate that method in order to push yourself out from your comfort zone, to train yourself because training matters the most. You have to practice a lot and don't let anything else slow you down.
Yeah. That is very true. So I'm starting to get a lot of questions. So let's take some from parents' view on the situation. All right. Okay. One question from Fasha. Okay, she said, me as a parent, how can I play a role by supporting my children on their mindset before before going back to the universities? So I think, yeah, this is a very interesting you know, questions because we have been focusing on students and our children. You know, we have been telling them, you know, you have to be strong, you're going back, you know, get ready, all their things and so on. But us as a parents, without we realizing it, the impacts actually is also on us. So how do you answer that, Kisha?
Okay, so as a parent, I'm sure we have a different set of questions running in our mind, apart from whatever I've spoke about earlier. But what are the questions exactly? What are your concerns? So if it's about their academics, your child's academics, then you'll have to liaise with the academicians. Like, how can you make it easier for you to relax about that? But if it's about your child alone, like how is he or she going to socialize, about everything as the time management, then you would have to sit and have an open discussion with your child. You have to ask about what is it that they are thinking, if there's anything slowing them down, or what are they feeling. Try and understand them, try and be empath about them, like where they are coming from. So that way you might get an idea of how you may help. Because I'm pretty sure as a parent, you might have seen a lot in your life. You have a lot of experience. You definitely know how to help your child if you get into their shoes.
Yes.
Right?
Yep. So okay, from what you have said just now, so I have another question which is very much related to that. It says here, what is your opinion on the post-pandemic effects? Many students fell behind in their studies during this pandemic, missed significant milestones, and suffered from a lack of peer interaction that helps develop crucial social skills. And what can they do to improve themselves before going back to university? And I believe, as a parents, you know, when our students wanted to go back to their universities or school, I mean, you can read through the Facebook comments and so on. They keep on telling their kids, you know, you didn't finish up your schoolwork, your assignments. So by the time you go back to, go back to physical campus and meet up with your lecturers will be hunting you. You know, you'll be like, okay, where's your assignment? Why didn't I see you online?
Yeah.
So that is actually whether we realize it or not, that is actually putting up a stress and a burden to the student itself.
Yeah.
Right? So how are we going to overcome that?
Well, I think for this, we'll have to establish a routine with the child.
Mhm.
Well, since it's all going to be physical learning from 15th October, right?
Yep, 15 October.
So yeah, the routine will be different.
Yes.
So much different than previously for the
Exactly.
past 2 years. Yeah, then the sleep routine will be different. Everything will be different. So knowing that on the 15th October onwards, it's going to be like how it was 2 years back, probably slightly more anxious, But yeah, other than that, it's just going to be the same, as in like their timetable. How were they studying? How many hours were they spending? And if there is any pending work that they have to finish before going for their physical learning, then of course they will have to do it, right?
Yes.
You have to explain that. As a parent, we only can explain so much. But yeah, probably you might want to use the reward system, as in like it will be helpful for them to be, like to be excited. Hey, mama's going to get me this before I go to school. Okay, so I'm sure they have like a wish list now that the shopping centers are all open, right? So yeah, okay, you'll get this if you finish all your pending work, parents, but don't have to be too expensive, I guess.
Yeah, so I believe as a parents, how you want to play the role is instead of you just, you cakap, you takutkan anak you keep on saying that, if you don't do this, you don't do that, then by the time you go to school, that's it, your cikgu will marah you, and then so your kids will not be they'll be looking at it negatively.
Yeah,
right?
that just creates a negative impact on their readiness to go back to school, because psychologically you are manipulating them, to be having that negative views about their lecturers, their academicians. So that's how they go.
Yep, exactly. So I think to the parents out there, and even teachers itself, teachers pun, they should play a part as well, because this is a challenging time for everybody, and it's very, very tough for us.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one from TikTok. Okay, it says here from Zafran Azli. It says, is it okay to resign because of stress at workplace, or will it affect your health? I believe what does it mean? Kalau dia tak resign, will it affect his health?
It will affect if you don't seek for help.
Exactly. You
What
need
is
to seek for
stopping
help.
you from seeking for help?
Zafran.
Yeah. Zafran, go seek for help. Anybody. Yeah, you have to. If you think resigning can help and contribute so much better to your mental health, then please do so. But make sure that you have another job, because it's very hard to get it these days.
Exactly. So yeah, I totally agree with you. I think if you are stressed, you think that you have stress, you can't handle it, the first thing you have to do is seek for help.
Yes.
So if like I say, if you're afraid of the stigma of certified trainer, okay, so you can just go and talk to them. Sometimes when you talk to strangers, you can actually just
connect.
Connect and everything. Or I have one. This is from a student. Okay, this is anonymous. It says, I don't want to go back to school because I'm being bullied. But I never told my parents. How should I address this to them? Oh, this is sad.
Okay, first of all, I'm so sorry that you're getting bullied. But what's concerning me the most is the fact that you haven't told anyone about this. It can get worse. It might not get worse.
Yep.
But what I would suggest you is to talk about it to somebody, at least one person, your academic tutor, your whoever who you can trust in the university, if you don't want to tell to your parents. But I would still suggest you to say something about this to your parents, just in case anything worse happens, they know that. Because this is something risky you are doing by hiding this. Right? Bully is not a small thing. Bully is not a simple matter here.
Exactly.
So, and we have to stop. In order for us to stop is with you people, the victims, to come out, to step out and talk about it.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So you probably want to speak about it to anyone that you trust. It can be your counselor also. So your counselor can alert the management without getting you into, the process of,
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do hope whoever is asking this, I hope you have the courage, stay positive.
Yep.
If only we can help,
Yeah.
find somebody to talk about it and to help you.
Yeah.
All right, we have another one. Okay, it says here also anonymous. It says, Miss Kisha, in your opinion, how many hours per day or week should our parents allocate time with us to communicate about our mental well-being? Okay. This is actually quite sweet.
Okay, but that's a very subjective question, my dear. I'm so sorry. I don't really have a proper answer for that, I'm afraid, because it totally depends on what occupation your parents are doing, how busy they are, what their lifestyle is like. So there's no actual answer for it. But the fact that parents need to spend time with their children matters is true. That's the only thing I can tell. But what you can do if you feel like your parents are not spending enough time, you can try and talk to them about it. Try and tell them how it makes you feel. What are the things that you're expecting? But despite discussing, I'm not sure if you have discussed this, but if you think you have discussed this and you still feel like there's no much, turnover about this matter, probably you will have to train yourself to think that that's all that they can do for their age and their workload. So
I think if I may add up,
yep,
okay, to this anonymous, because she actually asked how many hours per day or week. To me, it's not about quantity, it's about quality.
Correct.
Some parents may be there 24 hours at home, but they didn't actually sit down with you and talk with you. They'll be on the phone or they'll be watching TV and so on. So do bear in mind, do not feel like you are being abandoned just because your parents are with you only a few hours in a day. But the fact that the quality instead of quantity actually plays a big role.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
All right. So going to the next one, you said, okay, Hi, Miss Kisha. This is actually from Catherine So. Hi, Miss Kisha. In your opinion, how do students prepare for physical presentation since it's quite different from online previously? Okay, from mental perspective.
Okay. So when you know that you are ready, as in like you have prepared whatever you need to, the slides, whatever you need to speak based on the topic that has been given, you are halfway through there. The next half will be basically how you're going to talk in front of the crowd. I don't know if that's your concern or as a whole thing. So what you do first is to prepare yourself for all the things that you need to physically. Even your confidence matters the most. You want to stand in front of a lot of people and talk, present, let it be even 10 people. But the moment you have that confidence in you, you would definitely do it. Okay, so prepare your slides, dress up, be confident, go there, rock it.
All right. That's a very good advice. Okay, I have another one. Okay, it says here, sometimes, it's also anonymous. Sometimes I get confused whether I'm having mental problem or I'm just being me. I feel empty.
Okay. So what triggers you to be empty? That's what you have to look into. Does something trigger you, or do you just feel empty, meaningless? There's nothing to look forward to in life. So if you feel that way, talk to someone. Write them down. Before you go to someone, if you feel like you're just not ready yet to talk to someone, you can just list down, okay, on a daily basis, in a week's time, how do I feel? Why I'm okay for the first how many hours of the day, and during the afternoon onwards, I just start feeling low. Why? If you're feeling that way, you would try to need to look into the triggers or whatever. It can be anything. It can be a past experience. It can be a song. It can be a movie. It can be something somebody else is talking in the background. Anything can affect you if you have some unfinished business in yourself. So write them down. Speak to somebody when you're ready, but don't wait too long.
Yep. If you wait too long, then it will get worse.
You don't know how it will impact you.
Exactly. Oh, right. So there's another one. I think this is actually from TikTok. As an employee, if we got stressed in workplace due to environment or work tasks, should we be silenced or go to someone?
You have to definitely go to someone, I would say. But if you have a tough manager, how do you do it?
Yeah. How do you do it?
How do you do it? You
And,
don't want to
and,
lose
and
your
they are
job.
the one who's going to,
Yes.
you know.
Your PDR.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically you will need to find a good fellow employee,
Mhm.
like a friend in a workplace who you can talk to, or you'll go to the HR. But
Okay.
again, if there's risk when you go to the HR, something might happen. It
Mhm.
might, harm you in any ways.
Mhm.
Then yeah, find an employee, a fellow employee who can understand your problem. But you
Mhm.
have to talk it out,
Yep.
because if certain things like petty stuff, you can keep quiet. But if it's just getting more than the limit, then probably,
That's the thing.
Yeah.
That is very true. All right. There's another one. It's coming from counselor.
Mhm.
Okay, we have a counselor in our audience.
Mm.
As a school counselor, what is your opinion in what roles can school plays in supporting their students' mental health? I think this is a very good question,
It is.
because like like we have mentioned just now, it's not only about we care about we wanted the students to be ready,
Mhm.
but as a parents and also teachers, I think teachers play a major role, especially now.
Mhm.
They should be encouraging, they should be supportive in the WhatsApp group,
Yeah.
because all this while in the WhatsApp group, it's more like, why are you not in class? Where is your
Yeah.
assignments? I'll be grading you, your
Mhm.
results will be out soon, and you haven't sent in your assignments and so on. So they'll be seeing you next week.
Yeah.
So what is your advice?
Okay, so if you ask me, I would say that school may play an important role too, like parents and teachers and
Mhm.
students themselves, by creating support groups.
Okay.
So when the school creates support groups based on, I don't know, like for a certain standard or
Mhm.
form, if, let's say you're in Form 1, and then you have a few support groups, and students get to choose which support group they are comfortable to be with.
Mhm.
So through the support groups, you all can discuss similar cases that all 10 of them are having.
Yep.
So through that, students know that there are someone they can go to apart from the counselor, apart from teachers, without tarnishing their reputation or
Mhm.
their rapport with people.
Mhm.
So that way, school may help.
Yes.
Apart from that, of course, promoting mental health talks. It doesn't need to be talks, because people these days, they just don't want to listen to talks after
Okay.
these
Yeah,
2
yeah,
years
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah, yeah.
lectures
It's all
online.
online. There's no
Yeah.
more live, no more webinar, no more
So
nothing.
probably mental health campaigns, activities, something interesting,
Mm.
but with so much of message and insight.
Yes.
School can probably do this
Yes,
as
I
an
think they should.
initiative.
So going back to the word stigma that
Mhm.
we are using just now, that we have discussed about, there's one from also anonymous. It says, what can the schools do to make the students not to have the stigma in seeing the counselor when they have problems? I think we have discussed this during our first meetings.
Mhm.
When we're talking about, okay, when we tell our students, the counselors wanted to see you.
Mm.
You can see the look of your friends, like,
Yes.
oh no, you're in trouble,
Yes.
or either you're in trouble or you're problematic,
Yeah.
or there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
So this is the stigma that that we are discussing about.
Yeah.
So how does schools play this role?
Okay. So schools basically can only explain
Mhm.
that this environment is a very accepting environment. There's no stigma. But again, stigma is again subjective to every individual. For some of us, we are very much concerned about public stigma. As for some of us, it's within us. We would be very concerned about ourselves, like what happens to me when after seeing a counselor.
Yep.
Would I be this? Would I be that? Positive, negative. So in that way, I would say that when it comes to stigma, all we as school members or as an organization can do is to try and put the insight, try and do campaigns like this.
Yep.
But again, it comes back from them. They have to realize that stigma is not important in determining their decision to seek help. Although it impacts, but it has to stop. We have been listening about stigma for years now,
Exactly.
ever since counseling started.
Yep.
But I think it's time we stop, and it will only stop from this generation. This generation has to start.
Yes.
You start, it will stop.
Right. I like that part.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if I want to add up. Do you think it will help if if all this while we are talking about when you say that you're a counselor, So everybody will be looking at you like, oh, you know, you're
Yes.
my shoulder to cry. Or, you know, I have problem, I see you. I do
Yeah.
not have problem, I do not see you.
Yeah.
But actually, I believe the counselor's role is actually bigger than that. You know, it's not necessarily on problems.
Correct.
It's about solutions. It's about giving support. It's about giving opinions and
Mhm.
also advice.
Mhm.
Right. So maybe in schools, if I may add, the counselor should not only focus on, you know, if you have a problem, you jumpa cikgu. No, it's not that anymore.
Yeah.
It should be like, oh, you can come and see me and we talk about your future, for
Yes.
example. So when you when you go and see your counselors, so you know your friends mindset also will change,
Yeah.
because it's not like, oh, maybe she went there to talk about you know, some programs
Yeah.
or some activities and so on. So
Mhm.
it shouldn't be focusing on problem
Correct.
itself,
Correct.
right? So I think if the schools can do that, then I think it will help.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I have actually that's quite a lot. I have another one.
Okay.
Some of students find it difficult to accept or like new environment when
Okay.
they've been transferred to another school.
Mhm.
I can say it's same like back to university after
Mhm.
being so long learning from home.
Mhm.
It definitely affects their mental health and emotions.
Mhm.
Maybe you can elaborate on this.
Okay. So, being in a new place, being in a new group of people is never easy for anybody. For some, it is easily clicks, connects with a new group. For some people, we take time, whether or not you are an introvert or an extrovert. Okay.
Mhm.
So, what do you have to do about this?
Okay.
I'm sure as a parent, they would definitely make all their, efforts to get the child to know somebody, to have a friend with a child if they are younger. If they are elder, I'm sure older people, youth, we should know how to mingle around, how to get to know people, but it may take time. Go at your pace.
Mhm.
You don't have to rush. You don't have to be the same as other people.
Exactly.
You are different.
Yep.
You are unique.
Yep.
So if you think the first week you get into university, you get to know someone, good for you.
Mhm.
For some people, it takes 1 month. It's okay. As long as you know as a student what your responsibilities are, you're doing them right, great.
Yes.
That's it. That's all that matters.
Mhm.
Emotionally, it will hit you sometimes, but it's okay. If you can talk it out, you talk it out. If you think you can do something by yourself about it, go ahead. So that's what matters the most again, Azizah.
Exactly. Yeah. True. So I think we are running out of time, but before that, I think we have actually a few
Okay.
interesting questions. I'll take one last one from
Okay.
students' perspective, and then we have another one from parents' perspective.
Okay.
So from students' perspective, you said, "Hi, ma'am, Kisha. How to deal with silent battles? I'm having an anxiety attack since 2015 until now.
Oh.
I felt everything is falling apart in my daily life. I almost lost interest in everything sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you," with a very sad emoticon.
Aww.
You know, that's why I said I hope he or she is still listening.
Are you still listening?
Yeah, I
If
do hope
yes,
so.
wink.
I
No.
do hope so.
Okay, so please talk it out. It's been so long. It's how many years now? I forgot my math now.
2015, 7, yeah.
7 years, and you're still keeping quiet there? No,
I'm having a
you don't do
goosebump.
that.
Yeah, I feel so
Aw,
sad.
you see, Miss Azizah is having goosebumps. She's really sad now. Don't do that to yourself, okay?
Yes.
So, why are you having anxiety? Does anything trigger you? Yes, no. If yes, what is it? Can you do something about it? If no, you don't know the triggers, that's when you start listing down and paying attention to how you feel. Throughout the day, you would suddenly snap and be low. You'll be fine, you'll snap and be low. Why? What runs in your mind? List them down. When you list down, when you have a ledger, you start journaling, right? It will help you a lot. A lot of things can be narrowed down, and from that, you'll find solutions. Okay? So start doing that, Miss or Mr.
Yeah, Miss or Mr. I think he's posted twice about the silent
Aw.
battle. So I do hope Miss Kesha have answered your questions. You know, you need to like what Miss Kesha keep on saying. I think she have repeated it twice. Find out what is the key point that triggered your anxiety, what makes you sad. You know,
Yeah.
what and please get some help. Talk it out with somebody. You can always get Miss Kesha at any time. I believe, right?
Yeah,
You're open
yeah.
for for consultation and so
Yeah.
on. But yeah, you really need help. Need help means it's okay not to be okay. You don't
Exactly.
have to be you don't have to worry.
Yeah.
That
See,
people will judge you and so
people
on.
think counseling session is, oh, I have to go there, she's just going to judge me, she's going to
Yeah,
read me,
yeah.
she'll know my past, she'll know my no,
Mhm,
I'm not a magician, I don't have a magic ball here to be, no, I don't do that. Okay, all I do is to invite you. You'll feel warm. You want to talk, you talk. You don't want to talk, it's okay.
Yep.
I'll just be there, I'll just listen. You don't
Yes.
want me to talk, okay, I'll just listen. That's all
Yes.
that you will feel at the end of our session after that 1 hour is that you will feel better. I'm
Mhm,
not talking about me alone, but counselors
mhm.
in general.
Yep.
We are here to make you feel better. You matter to us. So,
Yeah, and I believe when you say that, to the anonymous attendee who posed the question just now, first of all, I think why do you need to see somebody who can actually advise you? Because sometimes you thought it's an anxiety, so it will be in your mind. But get yourself diagnosed.
correct.
So sometimes the anxiety, maybe it's an anxiety, or maybe it's just a bit of a stress that actually can be helped. So do not judge yourself as well.
Correct.
You keep on telling yourself that, oh, I have anxiety, I'm depressed, I'm stressed. When the truth is, it's just a bit of a stressful, which it can be helped
Yeah.
in a very simple steps and so on. So do come talk about it. Yeah, I think that will help you a lot. Okay, I have another one. It says here, my parent is kind of traditional. We don't usually talk about mental health openly. How can I start to talk about this?
Try and explain to which extent what is bothering you, to which extent it is bothering you, and you explain to them about what are the things that you would like to do. If they are against it, then tell them how can they support instead. If they are not okay with you seeking for mental health, okay, how can they support you instead? So try and incorporate them into it. So I understand that these things still happen. Traditional parents, our values, a lot of things matter in our country especially, but when you incorporate them, they might know the value. I'm not saying they would, but they might. Slowly it might change. But even so, if it doesn't, if they don't want to be part of mental health help for you, then you probably have to do it individually. You go seek help. Nobody needs to know. It's supposed to be a PNC thing. Nobody needs to know that you're going and seeing a counselor. So yeah, that's where it's supposed to start from. But if people know and if they stigmatize, you don't want to be added to that stress again, right?
True.
So do it smartly.
And I believe as a parents, we always, of course, everybody do not want their kids to have all of these symptoms. So and when our kids told us like, oh, mommy, I feel stressed, and you go like, what stress? You're at this age, what stress you're talking about? Because you start to compare. When I was in your age, I don't even know the word stress. So, but then again, I think as a parents, we have to know that time change.
Correct.
Right, time change it isn't the same anymore. They do not
like
go,
this Facebook quote. There's this social media on Insta also. Recently I saw there's this quote where back in my days, we didn't need mental health help. We just needed one tight slap from our parents.
And it solves our problem.
It solves all our problems. So these kind of things, I don't know who make this, but yeah. No, you don't need tight slaps. It doesn't work. Come talk to us.
So it will relate to this one question here. Okay, it says here, can you explain on parents' role in their children's mental health? Definitely not the slap.
Oh, parents really play a lot of role, a big role, I would say, in order to ensure that their children have great mental health, in the sense that their affection, their leadership styles, the way their relationship is, like how strong it is among each other, even among siblings, everything matters. So what parents can do the least is to, of course, husband and wife, to not have conflicts in front of your children, because that will impact them big time. Apart from that, of course, parents can try and talk out to children. Like every time you see your child locking him or herself in a room, or just being down, just being withdrawn from you. Why? Just try and ask, hey, are you okay? That 3 words sentence,
Yes,
it matters a lot. Hey, are you okay?
exactly.
Are you okay? That's it. Are you okay? So parents can start from there. For some children, they'll start telling. For some, they'll just, you wouldn't understand. You would definitely come back and say, hey, it's nothing, you can do it.
Yep.
So stop doing that.
I have read it somewhere. I think last few days they said when you talk to your children, never ask them how's your day, because in their mind, how was my day? It was starting from 7 o'clock towards what 6 in the evening. So if you're talking how was your day, they will just say, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
But try to put it in a very
Subjective question.
or you categorize it.
Correct.
How was your English class, for example? How was your teacher? How was your lecturers? How was your friends? So then they will be able to express themselves better. I think that will be a good tips for parents. Okay, we have one last question before we end our session for today. This actually come from an academician.
Okay.
So it says here, as an academician, how do we help our students coming back to campus physically? I think some are anxious, as actually they have been learning online all this while in the safe environment of their room. So,
okay. So as an academician, you are the first person students will see the moment they get into the university next week, right? So you can definitely identify who is okay, who is not. I'm sure just by looking, if your student is attentive or not. That can be in different ways, like not focusing because hungry or the timing or whatever it is. But the other part of it, they're just not there. You can have a talk or assign them to their personal tutor. If you can't assign them to a personal tutor based on with their consent, with the student's consent, then you will assign them to a counselor. So that way it helps. Or you personally can have a talk. But the thing is, you have a lot of students, right? You can't be going one-to-one, except if you can, that will be great. Because students will love it when teachers try to kind of show the concern. It makes a lot of
so I think just to wrap up on that questions, I think it goes back to what we have mentioned just now. As an academician, I think what you can do starting from today onwards in the WhatsApp group, try to be more warmly and friendlier and tell them that you are looking forward. Do not talk about the past assignments, do not talk about grades and so on. It's very much like welcoming them,
like
to come back
pushing
to the
the reset
campus.
button.
Pushing the reset button, exactly. So I think that is all from us, the two of us. So thank you very much, Keisha. We have come to the end of the session.
Thank you so much.
So lovely audience, there you have it. We have 1 hour session that is filled with invaluable information that will help you prepare yourself and kickstart your uni life again. Again, thank you to all participants for joining us today. I think that's so much fun. And thank you, Keisha, once again for being here. So I'll pass the session back to our MC, Iman.
Thank you for the insightful session, Ms. Keisha and Ms. Azizah. With that, I would like to thank everyone here for with us today. I am sure the participants have gained useful knowledge from all the 3 sessions today. Some key highlights from the discussion this evening are you need to reinstall your self-confidence. And the second one, if you don't feel like yourself, seek help from respective sources. And the third one, if you do have problems, you have to acknowledge, identify, and find the solutions. Thank you to all active participants who has joined us on TikTok and Zoom. And the most active we receive on an EduCity Happy Kit. Our team will be in touch with you soon. A final request, don't forget to complete the survey by the end of this session. Before I end this, I would like to request Ms. Keisha and Ms. Azizah to stay still as we are going to have a quick photo op. Okay? So can we have all on the main screen? All right, so I believe we are good to go. Technical team ready? Smile. 3, 2, 1. Can we have another one? Technical team ready? In 3, 2, 1. All right, fantastic. So do follow our social media EduCity official on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube channel, and turn on the notification for any announcement. Thank you, everyone. Now I'll pass the floor to my colleague, Ms. Yasmin, for a quick recap on all 3 sessions for the essential key takeaways. Until then, I am Iman saying thank you for your continuous support of EduCity. Over to you, Yasmin.
Hi, thank you very much. There you have it, guys. Thank you very much, Iman, Miss Kisha, and Miss Azizah. So we hope you do enjoy all three sessions, and please be informed that you can also enjoy the complete videos because we will be uploading it on our YouTube channel. So before I end today's program, let me just sort of quickly recap the takeaways that I do hope you will be able to implement in your daily habit. Let's talk about the first session whereby Dr. David Chan, who talks about the topic of working through uncertainty of a pandemic. How can we make this new normal work forward? One of the key things he said is mindfulness is ever changing. And even when you are feeling low, it is an experience itself. But you are encouraged to always find ways, a coping mechanism that suits you best. So from the second session, whereby we have Professor Dr. Mahani discussing about the topic of parent roles in promoting teenagers' health and mental health. Across all board, from first to third session, communication is key. Communication between a parent and their children is very important. It was really emphasized. So when do you start? If you haven't started before, you haven't been communicating with teenager, today is always been the day to start. Parents need to always validate your children's emotions, encourage them to take reasonable risks for them to develop their skills. And I think one of the things that I remember most from the discussion was embrace your children with kindness. Be a good listener and support them for them to make, might not be right for you, but right decision for them. So for the third session, we had a really wonderful, fantastic questions, but I think the message is quite simple. If you have a problem, if you do not feel like yourself, you have to acknowledge it first. You have to identify the problem or try to find the root cause. And at the end of the day, try to find solution. However, if you're unable to do so, if you really feel like you're not yourself, seek help from a respective or a reputable source, okay? Again, a big thank you to all of our partners. Thank you very much, TikTok Malaysia, Newcastle University Medicine Malaysia, EduCity International School, Stellar Education Group, University Malaysia Sabah, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and we are super grateful for all our strategic partners. The first one is, of course, Institute Dato' Oy, Iskandar Puteri Tourism Action Council. I'm thankful that today's event is also part of the Iskandar Malaysia 15-year campaign that is driven by Iskandar Regional Development Authority. So on behalf of EduCity Iskandar and the technical team that has worked so hard for months to ensure today's event is a success, I would like now to invite for a final photo shoot all the technical team, all my technical members from EduCity to open up their camera for a final event photo shoot. Can we have everyone on board? This is a final photo shoot. I'm asking all the technical team to open their camera. Are we ready for a final photo shoot? All right, and 3, 2, 1. Thank you, thank you. Thank you very much. So there you have it, guys. Thank you again to all the speakers, moderators, and you, yes, you, our wonderful, wonderful audience who has been so engaging with fantastic questions. And we hope today's event will give you the tips and guidance on some of the essential skills on early intervention on mental health, be it for you or your community. So let us all make mental health care a reality. #EduCity Jaga Kita, Kita Jaga Kita. Please do support us by completing the survey so we can continue to improve our content for future events. I am Yasmin saying thank you and we will see you next year. Goodbye.